We have covered the works of Sláva Václav Jelínek in episodes 484, 521 and 537. Today we will cover his 1937 The Vicar of Hochglockner. It's a 460-page newspaper serial a la the old Penny Dreadfuls, and so there are a lot of subplots. The main plot concerns Jaromír Síla, a man who is forced adamantly by his mother to become a Catholic priest for no reason ever stated. But he is in love with Helena, but cannot go against his mother's wishes when she's so frail and sickly. So the day Jaromír holds mass for the first time, Helena pretends to poison herself to get him to come to her hospital, and the inevitable happens and she gets pregnant. Jaromír is sent to the faraway mountain parsonage of Hochglockner, while Helena marries a rich customs official named Jasinski. He then gets transferred to Hochglockner to fight the local smugglers along with his wife. Coincidentally, the same smugglers who one day abduct Jaromír to make him bless their weapons so they can kill Jasinski more easily. Jaromír only finds out Helena is in the neighborhood when he goes to give the last rites to Jasinski, after the smugglers shoot him through the lungs. But just as Jaromír swears to Jasinski on his deathbed that his wife's child is really his, Jasinski seemingly dies. So Helena and Jaromír kiss in front of his corpse, but he sees them and then wakes up in his coffin just as they are trying to bury him. Jaromír leaves never to return, and Jasinski throws his wife and her child out onto the snow after stealing her dowry, then goes to marry the mistress he's had this whole time. Jaromír goes to Argentina, where he becomes a gaucho at the ranch of a certain Urquez, who refuses to let him leave alive when Jaromír is forced to be an accomplice to the abduction of the wife of Urquez's neighbor Blaschet, whom Urquez had loved in vain for 20 years. But the masked rider pursues them over a rope bridge, and the abducted woman plunges to her death. The masked vigilante of the Pampas, who spent decades fighting for the wronged and mistreated, is revealed to be Blaschet himself. And in revenge for his wife's death, he has two of his men assault Urquez's daughter Mercedes. Jaromír, whom she loves one-sidedly, agrees to marry her, and she dies giving birth to a daughter named Mercedes. Meanwhile in Prague, a female vampire named Zora Tasmanova lures Jiří Sedlinský, unrelated to anyone in the previous narrative, to become her 8th husband after 6 of her husbands died mysteriously, and her 7th husband was mysteriously murdered while looking for her in Prague. He tries to get his friend Tomáš Vrany to help him, but everyone abandons him as his wife drinks his blood every night as he grows weaker and weaker. When he dies, Tomáš marries Zora and she almost kills him too, had not Helena, his neighbor, given him a salve left behind by one of Zora's murdered husbands, which holds Zora at bay when she tries to drink his blood. The police arrest her, but she turns into a bat and flies away. That was part 1 of the novel. The second part is much worse. 90% of it concerns tedious love triangles and boring financial machinations relating to a new bank, and a Prince and the Pauper style story you can see a mile away. Lots of people get married and fall in love, while Jaromír, now a baron somehow, how he was ennobled while living in Argentina I don't know, does nothing. His stepdaughter Mercedes falls in love with his son Ivan, who gets abducted by the vampire who only shows up over 200 pages into part 2. They kill the vampire and rescue Ivan and all go back to Argentina.